week. In true fashion of this episode, I'm afraid I'm going to have to underwhelm you right from the get-go. We don't have a name. I said last week we'd have a name by this week. Alas.
No, there's so many good ones in the comments. I saved them all and I wrote them down, and I've lost the piece of paper that I wrote them all on though. So
who writes on paper? What is this, the 1900s?
I wrote it in the nice little notebook that you got me for my birthday, actually, Rosanna. Thank you.
I'm here for the Who crew.
I don't know.
But isn't that the name that they actually use for the Who crew?
Exactly. It's just copying. It's pirating off Stefan Pal.
Copying us. We're the true Who crew. Shooty Gatwa. Who does he think he is?
He's
I'm
a doctor.
still a fan of Satellite 5, I think, is my favourite so far.
Ooh,
that was good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. But today we are here to discuss the Interstellar Song Contest, and I think we're probably going to have a good debate, because I think there's a lot of different opinions, and there was a lot in this episode. And for once, I think I might be the more negative voice out of everybody here, which that's a plot twist and a half. Maybe a good plot twist, which I'm afraid this episode couldn't deliver. But
for you,
for me. What, didn't you have it spoiled for you, Rosanna?
I did.
By who, actually?
Who would do that?
I think someone's knocking on my door. I might have to go.
Yeah. Thanks, Elise. Thanks a lot.
I literally as well, because I deliberately moved the conversation out of we've got a big group chat for our group of friends, and I moved the conversation to the group chat of the five of us, because I was like, oh, they'll all have watched Doctor Who. And then I literally was like, oh yeah, the Rani reveal. And Rosanna just responded saying, bitch. Like, oh,
no, you bitch.
She's watched the episode yet.
No, because I work on a Saturday and I finish at like 6. So I was like, oh, I wonder what my friends are talking about.
I didn't compute it, so I thought you were calling the Rani a bitch, and I was like, did I miss something?
He slays.
But we'll hold off on that big reveal to the end of. We'll go through chronologically the whole episode. And yeah, we'll hold off on our thoughts on that reveal, because I think we've all got some contrasting things. And you may have noticed as well, Tharies is currently absent. He's currently MIA. Does anybody know where Tharies is?
Isn't he at his dad's?
Okay, ruin the mystery straight away, like the Mrs. Flood reveal. Maybe Tharies is trapped in Wish World. Maybe that's where he is. We'll have to wait and find out. But no, Thary should be cropping up later. We should also have a mystery special guest appearance later. So hold on. But before we dive into the episode, Rosanna, you weren't here last week. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of your thoughts of last week's episode?
I really enjoyed last week's episode. It wasn't as good as It wasn't as good as... It's what Osh likes to use as breakfast, Doctor Who. But... what stood out to me was the cultural impact it had, and the fact that it was based off a play, which Russell saw and Shooty saw, and I don't know, I just really liked it. And that bit at the start where Shooty was talking with Belinda was, I don't know, I really loved that part, because it was like, you know, as a me person.
As a me person.
As a
non-white presenting Time Lord.
Yeah, I don't know, I just felt really like seen. That sounds really like stupid, but it was a really good point, because, you know, walking around in this country as myself, I'm never like, and then in Thailand, I'm never like, because I'm Thai. So I don't know, I just thought, and Belinda's response I thought was beautiful, talking about her grandma and stuff, and I loved the storytelling as well, and I thought the animations were really, really cool.
Yeah, that was good.
And the giant spider slid, and oh my god, the roof doctor, yeah. I was like, yeah. And then the little baby girl thing from
Space Babies.
I
didn't really care about that, if I'm being honest.
How could you not care about the return of Captain Poppy?
Like,
the fan favourite returning character.
He's so cute though, and like, I don't know.
What would you give it a rating out of 10? We've got every other episode's rating out of 10. What would you say for story and the engine?
Like a 7, maybe a 6. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't. It did get a bit boring and confusing, but my favourite part, the braids, the pattern.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the way that story went was stunning. Like, and also they built that on a set. I was like, that did not feel like a set. Like I was with my auntie when we watched it, and like she was saying like it's a dalad, which means like market and tie, and like I don't know, it's just a nice feeling.
But it was good. It was a solid episode. So we'll start off right. Let's play a fun little game first. I want people to let's try and figure out who liked it best and who liked it worst. Let's put us in a line of like where our opinions will lie, and we'll start with the most positive first. Who
Are
do
we
we
including
think?
Farries in
I think
this?
Farries would be the most positive.
I
Farries.
think I probably will be.
No,
Even more than Tharies?
Well, I don't. I'm not like you social media hogs. I haven't looked at Twitter. I watched the episode and formed an opinion.
Farries will double down on things though as well. I
Watch
think
it.
when he realizes that somebody else is criticizing it, he'll be like, "No, there's nothing wrong with it. Not at all."
Wait to see with Mr. Harry's what his opinions of this episode are. Out of us four here, who's going to have the most positive take? Artie, you think it's you, right?
Yeah.
No, I think it's me.
Oh.
Well, that's because I'm
Who
so
wore it best?
no, but I'm well, me. But I just think Artie. I know Artie's quite a negative. He's got a negative attitude.
Yes, but I'm saying I liked this one.
That's rare for
No.
Artie. We'll dive in. Artie, give us your thoughts. Why did you enjoy this episode?
I mean, first of all, when I say I liked this one, I liked everything up until the credits, and we can talk about anything after the credits later.
Okay, that's fair.
But
that's more fair.
I just thought this one was so much fun, like start to finish. I think that it might be one of the like most spectacular episodes of Doctor Who.
It's the most high budget episode ever.
That doesn't
Is
surprise
it?
me.
Yeah.
It looked amazing start to finish. All the guest stars were so much fun. Like Graham Norton, when I saw him in it and he got his moment at the end, it was like, I don't know, it felt like him earning his redemption from ruining the previous episodes. The plot was tight. The villain, like all I really enjoyed the gay couple. I thought they were genuinely funny. I know some people have found them cringy, but I just found it all so much fun. And also Susan, it got me so hyped start to finish. And before we move on to whoever's next, this is my favorite episode of Unleashed as well. I was interested from start to finish, and yeah, it was.
They didn't go around asking people like, "Are you scared of spiders this week?" It's like,
No,
it was content.
It was like Rylan, Graham Norton, and then you got a bit of Shooty with the Duckadoo song, which I thought was so funny.
Oh, but yeah, Rosanna, do you want to take it away? What were your thoughts on the episode?
I really enjoyed it. It was just like I feel like if I was a kid, it would be one of my favorite episodes. Very much like Rings at Aquitaine, like camp space, like also kind of horrific. You know the part where they all get sucked up? I was literally like that's a lot of people dead.
That imagery I thought was so good.
It was amazing. Proper like space horror.
Yeah, and I was like, there's a film where that happens in. I can't remember. It's like a horror film that happens in, and like I don't remember it for the life of me, but something similar, like someone drowns, or like a lot of people drown, and it's something like that where it's a mass group of just bodies.
Titanic?
That's an event that happened in real life, babes.
No, but the film.
Oh.
And
maybe. No, it's like San Andreas or something. Like you see a bridge collapse and like, The Impossible.
Never seen it.
You know The Impossible, you know the one with Tom Holland?
No.
Like, Dad! It's about like Thailand army and he like anyway.
I'm sure it's great. But yeah, Elise, what did you think?
I'm really, really conflicted because I ended it and I went, I really enjoyed that. And then I started to sit with it for longer. And I only rewatched the first 10 minutes because I've been at rehearsals for about like 12 hours this weekend. And I've also had a lot of assignments alongside that. So I haven't had time to rewatch it. I could have rewatched it in the last couple of hours, but I decided to watch Inside Number 9 instead. But I've just, the more I sit with it, the more I'm just like, I don't know.
Is that because of the ending though? Like forgetting everything after the credits?
I thought the ending was good.
I liked the ending.
Okay.
Get out.
We'll get onto that. We're saving that debate for later on in this video because I don't want that to cloud. No, I don't want it to cloud the judgments of the actual episodes itself because I watched a bit of your video, Joe, and what you were saying about like you wish you could give half the episode a 10 out of 10 and the other half a nothing out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
So I think, can we talk about those things separately? Because that did not personally cloud my judgment of the episode.
I think I'd like to add on to that point with kind of from my perspective, because when I filmed my review, I'd only watched it once. Now I've watched it twice, and I did enjoy it a lot more on rewatch. But I think the Mrs. Flood ending is bad. I don't like the direction they take the Doctor, but obviously we'll discuss that when we get there. I thought that was ridiculous. But I did enjoy it more on rewatch, and I think one of the reasons I felt so underwhelmed at the start was because I'm looking at so much stuff throughout the week, reading every news article, reading Russell's thing. Russell said the words, "This episode will change Doctor Who forever. It's going to do stuff you've never seen before, stuff that you'll never expect. It's absolutely marvellous." And it was just kind of a run-of-the-mill episode. And I think to advertise it in such a way, I'd kind of been hoping that all the fourth wall stuff was going to be explained. I thought there were going to be massive revelations. I thought as well, obviously we will touch on the Mrs. Flood reveal as its own thing, but I thought that was going to be a proper thing. So I was kind of sat there the entire episode going, oh my God, is she going to reveal? Is she going to reveal? And then the credits come and I'm like, it's a post-credit scene. And I think that's it's. I need to separate that from the episode itself because I think that did impact my watching of it. And as I say, once I removed myself from the hype and the waiting of it, and it's rare that my opinion changes after watching an episode. It's usually how I feel when I see it. That's how I stay. But I did enjoy it a lot more on rewatch, and I thought it was quite fun. There were lovely little moments, and obviously Susan cropping up's lovely. And yeah, some of the dialogue, I think it's exactly like you said a second ago. Some of it's really good, and some of the dialogue, there's just a couple of lines, especially with Belinda, where it feels like what's the characterization here?
What has happened to like Doctor Who, where every episode since Jodie came in, every episode you have to let off the fact that there are going to be 2 or 3 lines that are just awful for no reason. Like I don't think there's an episode with an exception to that rule. Like ever since Jodie, it's what happened to dialogue.
Well, an interesting thing I do want to discuss, because we have the answer as to why Belinda is written poorly. Juno Dawson and Stephen Moffat said it last season. Russell basically didn't tell any of the writers who Belinda or Ruby are as characters. Stephen Moffat's exact words were, Russell said, she's not one of the different types of companions. She's one of the like normal ones, like Rose or Amy, just like nice and normal. That's not a character.
To be fair to Russell in series 1, Ruby doesn't have a character.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
That is a crime for series 2 though, because
well, that's Juno Dawson said she wrote this episode before knowing who was cast as Belinda, who Belinda is as a person. All she knew is that she's a nurse. And that's basically it. And I think you can tell because there's a couple of lines from Belinda. Like I mentioned it last week because it was in the preview, but Belinda went at the start where she's like, I watched Eurovision with my parents and it was really happy. It's like, oh, don't.
She says that Eurovision is the best night of the year. I don't think I've ever met a person in my entire life who, when asked the question, what is the best night of the year, would respond with Eurovision. It made me physically, like I had to pause and like process that happening. I couldn't cope with it. Oh.
I don't know, because there's loads of people like Eurovision.
But it's not the best night of the year.
Yeah, but like X Factor's gone.
What was X Factor the best night of your year? Every time X Factor was on, you're like, I've reached a peak.
No, exactly.
Oh,
But like some people really get into it, and you can tell. Like when I was at work today, loads of people were talking about it. And I was like, "You guys actually watch that?"
but the people that get into Eurovision are also the people that like get into Guy Fawkes night and stuff. Like they probably have about 15 best nights of the year. Like nobody's I don't know.
I
That's
don't
just
think it's. I think the
wild.
problem's not that it's just
Oh,
it is the dialogue. Like it's the way, because I think Verada Sethu, to be fair, is doing a banging performance with what she can.
The
Like
Rylan bit.
yeah.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just, but I think it is a weird case of you get dialogue like that. Oh, and we'll talk about him in a minute, but Kid was the cringiest villain I've ever. I'm gonna do evil things, Doctor. But I thought some of the lines were really good. Like I can't. Some of them have escaped my mind, but there were some lines where I was just like, "Oh, that was really nice." You know, like I can see where that came from. It was funny. It was good.
Yeah.
Mike and what's the other guy called? Mike and something. See, I remember their names. They were fun.
Do you?
Mike and someone else. It was like Liam. or
Gary,
something.
was it Gary, Mike, and Gary?
Gary.
I loved everything about them.
I thought they were so much
They
fun.
were good.
Like,
You know, as much as like people want to be like Doctor Who's woke agenda, I think they would have fitted perfectly in like 2005 as well. You know,
yeah.
like they
Well, I
just,
think they were also good representations of like Eurovision fans. Like it felt like these are the people that love Eurovision. I can see.
It would have been
types of
better.
people.
It would have been better representation if at the end of the episode they'd have gone, well, that was the song contest. I can't wait for Guy Fawkes night.
No, because they are the type of people that Eurovision would be
it
their
was
best
one of
night of the
them.
year. Well, he was the type of person that Eurovision would be the best night of his year. Belinda
Yeah, it was
is
boring.
not that type of person. Come on. You want your characters to have a personality, and then you tell us that they think Eurovision is the best night of the year.
I'll tell you
I
who
can't be on board with that.
Oh, I'll tell you, like Donna strikes me as a Eurovision girl. Martha,
Oh,
No.
I think Donna. Well, I don't think she'd like it, but
No,
she'd be
because
like,
they're interesting people. People who like.
I was shitting on Eurovision. I don't mind it. You guys are.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I think the trouble is you can see, like, I think it's because Juno Dawson is a big Eurovision fan, and I think her love for it is very evident in the text. There was no character. I feel like you should have had, like, if you had two companions, right, and one of them is like, oh, I love Eurovision, the other one would be like, really? And if it was any other Doctor than Shooty, like, imagine Capaldi, he'd be like, you like Eurovision, do you? Grow up. Like, I felt like there was no opposing voice. It was just everyone going, Eurovision's the best thing ever. Which it's like, come on, have a little bit of like resistance somewhere.
Mike or Gary, whatever one was one.
It was Gary, wasn't it? The husband.
I suppose, to be fair.
But even he was sort of won over by the power of song. It was a bit weird.
This is the message of the power of song. We'll say.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't think that's a
Power
great
of
message
Zibbity
either.
Doo or whatever that one song was. Well, I don't know what the song was called.
Duggadoo.
Duggadoo. The power of Duggadoo.
I did, Lou. I loved that scene where, sure, some of the dialogue Belinda was saying was a little bit ropey, but where she was just having a breakdown, crying, hyperventilating, and just Duggadoos just playing over the top. And I thought that was really fun.
I just thought like her acting so good. Like I mentioned it before, but the whole Ryland thing, I literally like burst out laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, this girl!" I love her.
Brilliant.
Well, like I feel like I want to talk about the confidential more than the episode.
The scene with Belinda, on Belinda's acting, the scene with her and Cora, where Cora's like, when she's going, "Where even am I?" And Cora's like, "You're on this planet. Where even is that? Oh, it's this thing.
That was good.
Where
was
am
awesome.
I liked that.
Also, did you notice that the station had the giggle?
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. It had the harmony. Also, what a cool name for a place. Harmony stage. The harmony.
I thought the world building was quite nice, and seeing all of the aliens and stuff. I was surprised they didn't shove in like cameos.
That's what I thought. Like,
that upset me.
I thought the pig slaves were cameos, but then in the Unleashed they look like new pigs.
They are new pigs.
I want to see those weird fish people that Martha cried about.
Yeah.
I will say, in the Unleashed, we seem to be talking about the Unleashed a lot. But it was a great. It was a great week for it. Looking at the behind the scenes of the crowd with like the masks half off, just chilling between takes. It reminded me a lot of some Echo filming.
Yeah.
Like just or back in the old days when Sam was wearing the tortoise and just between takes. Oh, Joe, we're doing another one.
It just reminds me of like when I broke one of your costumes.
Yeah, our poor Time Lord collar. It's going to be repaired.
I literally I just lied down and then I went.
On the episode though, well, we're talking about the acting, and I really enjoyed the episode, but it wasn't one of my favourite weeks for Shooty.
I disagree. I really like him in this. There's two moments that were a bit not because of his performance, but as I said, we'll come to him zapping the guy later. But I also didn't buy him when he said, what did he say? He's like, I'm gonna watch you freeze to death.
Yeah.
It was a little bit, but I don't think that was Shooty. I think the script jumped from 0 to 100 really quickly there, and it was kind of like because the pacing was a bit odd throughout the whole thing. It was going like slow, then quick, then quick, then slow, then slow. Then it was like, what's going on? There was so much happening as well.
Felt really long, but it wasn't.
Yeah, when I watched it with my family, my sister was like, "Is this an extra long episode?" And I was like, "Nope, we're only
it wasn't boring though. It wasn't boring though.
Yeah, I think they just
it was really well paced. Yeah.
Even I
wouldn't say well paced.
And I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go on, Elise. Go after the pacing.
No, Rosanna, you continue. I don't really have anything to say other than snarky comments.
Go on then. Give us a snark.
Well, I had to rewind the bit when he goes into that central command thing and then just blows up the thing that was spent the whole episode being like, oh no, it's going to kill 3 trillion people. Gone. I was like,
To be fair, the sonic screwdriver was like a magic wand at the end of this.
It was like Matt Smith era where it's just every 5 seconds, zap, 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 zap.
Geordie, Matt Smith also did that.
Yeah, well, I think to be fair, though, in the Jodie era, it didn't solve all the problems. With this, it was just like every problem, bam, 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 bam. But I do think it made sense. Well,
when people need help, I never refuse.
I knew that was coming.
Does it not look like Harry Potter where she's like, Monica?
No, I like it.
She always does like a flick of the coat and one of these.
You just walked off camera for that after.
You guys don't believe Capaldi. Capaldi does that quite a lot, like in class especially. He's like, and if you remember, I wasn't sure about Capaldi after Series 8, and I wasn't sure about him when we saw Class. It was Series 9 that won me over on Capaldi.
I think with Capaldi,
I swear Class is after Series 9.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, he might have watched it. But also, like, I don't know, with Capaldi, like, he has sunglasses. I don't really care. Like, he has sunglasses.
What?
I've done a long shift.
So if Jodie Whittaker wore sunglasses, you'd be like, yeah, you can point your Sonic however you like.
Yeah, but to be fair, she did wear sunglasses, and she went, "These used to belong to Audrey Hepburn." I was like, "Babe,
she just doesn't point the screwdriver in a way that feels authentic to how her doctor would point the screwdriver. She points the screwdriver.
What does that mean?
No, but you know how
I hate Doctor Who fans. I hate Doctor. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Authentically, I believe. Shut up. Leave her alone.
Right, if you've just said it's really similar to the way that Peter Capaldi points a screwdriver. When he does that, I'm like, yeah, that's how the doctor would point a screwdriver.
That's because you're a sexist.
Are you saying women can't hold screwdrivers?
No, I think that women should watch Doctor Who before being cast in the role, realistically, because she didn't know what she was doing with it.
What, you're starting to sound like one of them.
I like Jodie Whittaker as the doctor.
That's unnaturalistic, Rosanna. That's not how you hold a screwdriver. Let me mansplain.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go and get your Sonic lipstick, actually. Which she will actually have because of the Sarah Jane fandom.
I can't find it though. I've got my
Elizabeth Denham full view.
It this.
Nice.
No, you're not allowed a screwdriver. Get the lipstick.
Just to defend my character here, when I was growing up, I asked for a Sonic lipstick, and my mum refused to buy me one and got me a Sonic screwdriver instead because she was like, "That's sexist." So
Queen.
I'm not sexist. I am.
That's because your mum was a feminist. You're still sexist. You still look at Jodie and be like, "You shouldn't be anywhere near a toolbox."
Be in the kitchen.
Should we actually talk about the episodes?
Yeah, let's
not dwell on Elisa's sexism.
Transition smoothly away from here. I thought, right, we'll go to when all the people were dying. I know we briefly discussed it, but that was so cool when they were all flung into the air. Genuinely, some of the best Doctor Who. Like, if we're only counting like a 1 minute scene, one of the best 1 minutes in Doctor Who. Like.
Oh. You genuinely believe they're dead.
Yeah.
The Doctor's survived, but everyone else is dead.
I know it would probably be too depressing, but I really I wish they'd left some of them dead. Like, it was so effective. It was so creepy. And
I wish they did, you know what's it called? You know the Titanic episode with Kylie Minogue, who was just in...
Yeah, exactly.
I wish they, I wanted to see... Maybe it was Titanic. I wanted to say, the people going, how many dead? All of them. I don't know.
Even if they weren't gonna commit to killing everybody off, which I think they should have done, then they could have at least given it more than 30 seconds before they go, don't worry, we can revive them all, but we're not going to do it until the end of the episode.
I don't know. I feel like it would have been more of, if they hadn't have said right up top, then it would have felt even more cheap. Like, if at the end they'd just gone, and everyone's alive. I think keeping them in stasis was like, I thought it worked bringing them all back. But also, on how they brought them back, Mavity is the best running joke in all of Doctor Who.
It is good. I like that.
Because I don't think they've said it yet this series, so it was constant. They're all in suspended Mavity.
Spam it.
I triplicated the mavitation radius by this amount. Like, it's so much fun.
I am defying Mavity.
I really liked the song choice for what is it? Whatever the song was they play when they're bringing all the people back. That was so good. Like, such a good moment.
It was like a really cheesy
it's the Bangles, but I can't remember what the song's Making Your Mind Up. Making Your Mind Up.
Yeah.
So good.
That was a great sequence.
That's not a Eurovision song.
It probably was. I don't know. I don't know it as a Eurovision song. It's on my playlist. It's on the playlist.
You don't know Waterloo was a Eurovision song.
Did that start as a Eurovision song?
Yeah, that's the one that ABBA won.
Was it in the episode, wasn't it?
I didn't know.
It was. The costumes were there. Or ABBA-ish costumes.
Mad.
God, I think they should have used Fairy Tale instead. And they should have been bringing back everyone as violins going...
Making Your Mind Up was Bucks Fizz at Eurovision 1981.
There you go. The more you know.
We're so uncultured with Eurovision, guys. Get on my level.
It's because we're
not good.
Because we have personalities, Rosanna, that's why.
Well, I really enjoyed Bonfire Night.
And that says a lot about you.
For anyone watching who may enjoy Eurovision, we don't hate you, I promise.
I do.
No, we don't hate you. I just wouldn't want to be in a lift with you. Or, in a conversation.
Doesn't your mum go to yearly Eurovision parties?
And I rarely find myself in a lift with my mother.
But this is what I mean. This episode, it speaks to the popularity. Big Brother at the time was really big, so they obviously made an episode about Big Brother. I really want them to do a Love Island episode. Because
how would that work?
I don't know.
Do you know what? If any Doctor did a Love Island one, it would be shitty.
I'd want someone like Sylvester McCoy in a Love Island episode.
Have you seen Sylvester McCoy?
As he is now.
He got on Twitter. It's not strictly Love Island, but it's Sylvester McCoy in current culture. Someone, when people do those joke tweets that are clearly like fake information. They put out like Rihanna has said in an interview that Sylvester McCoy is her favorite Doctor. She wants to like bounce him around or something, right? And so the actual Sylvester McCoy replied to it with a video going, Rihanna! And it's just like, no, Sylvester, it's not true.
Oh no!
But I want him like that on Love Island. Rihanna! Just be great.
But like this is what I mean with the episode being like very cultural.
Davide!
Ekin who?
Allied actress.
Ekin who has to be the title of the Love Island episode.
Why don't we make that the podcast name? Submission for the podcast name. Ekin who.
Oh yes.
I feel like Doctor Who fans won't know what we mean.
Mate, is anyone who's currently watching this, do you know what Love Island is? Have you watched Love Island? I've seen about an episode and a half in my entire life, and it's dreadful. Don't watch it.
Not,
terrible.
to be
fair,
terrible.
you three would be out of place on a Love Island themed podcast because only me and Tharis are the hotties.
Of course.
Of course. How are you feeling having to hold up the eye candy side of things today by yourself, Archie?
Do you know what? I do feel like Tharis does most of the heavy lifting, but I can still carry it.
Speaking of Tharis, can one of you drop him a message? Because sorry everyone who heard my phone buzzing a minute ago. Tharis dropped me a message, but I can't see what it said. So he may be ready to join. He may be on his way home. We'll find out. We'll find out after the break. Alas, it would appear that Tharis has not in fact returned. We don't know where he is. He could be anywhere. He could be anywhere. Where were we in terms of the episode?
Well, we've discussed the start quite a lot, but we keep going off because we all basically agree that it's fun. And I do kind of want to get into the Doctor and what he does to the guy at the end of the episode, because it was. Because I wanted to ask, because she obviously didn't know about Belinda's characterization. Did she have any inkling over the Doctor's arc for the series? Like, do we know if that's going to continue?
See, this is something I was wondering, because it does seem like they're setting it up. And I think it is. There's still 2 episodes to go. And apparently there is a possibility I think there's a picture of Kid, which apparently is from the finale. So we don't know whether this whole thing is going to have more added to it. It might go further. It might not go further. We're literally just going to have to wait and see.
I hope not.
Yeah, I suppose.
Not to shame the actor, because he's probably really good, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I
thought he was fine.
I thought the girl was fine. I thought she was really good.
She was good. I think the actor, is supposed to be quite good. I think he's worked in other Russell projects before. Because people were hyped when he was announced. They were like, oh, he's cool. But I think it's a combination of his dialogue. His dialogue, I felt, was written for an American cartoon villain, but performed by a British guy. And it just felt wrong, because he's like, oh, honey, we're going to do it. It's like, what? Like, it sounds so wrong coming out of his voice.
I don't know about you, but as soon as he came out, I was like, they're going to kiss. Oh, well, villain.
Yeah.
I literally was like, oh, wow, I'm so surprised. I was like, oh, they're a couple? No way. You know what I mean?
It felt like something from Classic Who as well. Like, it with the horns and stuff. Like, it felt very Seventh Doctor era.
Guy. He's like a guy that in 2016 turned 18 and went to your local pub and hasn't left since.
Yeah, Sam.
I don't know why.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam, we love you.
No, we don't.
All of his characterization was just like, it's like he based his entire personality on movies that he's watched.
Yeah.
So Sam. But it was all just, I don't know. It was just a bit weird, but I think that's a big problem with the way he was written, the way he was characterized.
Susan!
Tharis will be joining us literally any second. He's going to pop up, but Rosanna's got to go relatively soon, so we're just going to keep going. Rosanna, spit your bars.
So I really was so shocked by the Susan cameo, because I was really? In a Eurovision episode? Surely you could have came back in the 60th or the 50th or any other episode. But the reason why I thought she's so cute, like Carol, like I just thought I feel like I'm talking about The Confidential, but her little was like, oh well, I've never been asked, and then I met Russell, and then he was like, do you want to be in Doctor Who? And then like that was
Yeah, she seems so excited to be in the show. It's so endearing to watch. Honestly, the episode, it's great, but watch the Unleashed. It's so much fun. Honestly.
And also
Stefan was popping off.
He was, because in the Unleashed she like did all the extra stuff, and like I don't know, I've been an extra.
And that sound girl who was going, that's Caroline Board. It's like,
why are you talking about The Confidential?
I did think though on Susan, it's a bit random. Like I think it's got to be going somewhere. Like it's got to be leading to something. But like as Rosanna says, I feel like Twice Upon a Time was the perfect moment to have Susan come back. Capaldi's Doctor, David Bradley First Doctor.
No.
Like, yeah, no. 60th, no. Last season at the end, like I'm sorry, how much more justified would Ruby's exit be if Ruby leaves and the Doctor goes to visit Susan because you've helped me talk about family in a way I never did before? That would be great. But
no.
It's sort of like we've waited until Eurovision. It's got to be going somewhere though.
This is one of the things why I asked if they knew the Doctor's arc, because this stuff like Susan and him torturing that guy, if this feels like stuff that should have been set up a few episodes ago. Like if he was getting flashes of Susan, that like, you know, it would just tied through the series, because it feels like we're getting a lead up to some kind of return of Gallifrey, because we're getting Susan, we're getting the Rani, and it's like none of this has been.
While I remember, we've got to make our predictions on the Unholy Trinity. Who's the third
they've
member?
said it they put it on Instagram.
Have you not seen Russell this morning? That man does not know when to stop. He's gone a little sneak peek. I count the Rani as one person. Who's the third one? Who's the third one?
On earth is Conrad? I was speaking to my friend today because she runs Durham Doctor Who Society, and she was like, "Oh, what did you think?"
There's a Durham Doctor Who Society.
There's a society. There's an Aperol Spritz Society. Like, there's a society for everything. But she was like, I loaded up Instagram, and the first thing I saw was the Doctor Who post, and underneath it was just you saying, "What?" Because I was like, what do you mean that Conrad is in the Unholy Trinity? You can't just pick three random characters and put it in.
On Conrad, the preview of next week in Unleashed, not to bring it up again, but him giving his little speech in the preview of next week's episode. I'm sorry, I'm not convinced he's bad.
No.
He's so bad.
I don't think what was wrong with it?
He's good.
I just thought it was so cheesy. We haven't talked about the last scene, and I think we're saving it for when Tharius gets here. But it just felt like a Power Rangers villain. It's like him giving that speech. It's so sort of
it's going to be it's Wish World. Conrad's going to get his wish, his reality. He's in control. But the question I do have though is, and this is why I think he might be part of the Unholy Trinity. You're talking about Gallifrey Time Lords. Conrad's wish might be to make himself the Doctor, or to make himself a Time Lord, because obviously he has that admiration for the Doctor when he's a kid. He goes down this rabbit hole. The Doctor says, I deny your existence. So Conrad then chooses his wish from Mrs. Flood, from the Rani, to be, make me a Time Lord, make me a god. But it is hilarious without knowing that you've got two Ranis, probably a god, a member of the Pantheon, Rassilon, Omega, Sutek, the Toymaker, plus a little incel podcaster. It's great. It's great.
But you know,
it's not great though. It's not great. We can joke, we can laugh, but at the end of the day, they're ruining my show, and I'm not.
Oh, shut up! Put a sock in it.
I don't think.
Jeez, the Not My Doctors are back on the internet.
Oh, but I don't think he's gonna be. I think the little that thing.
Sorry. Répétez, s'il vous plaît.
No, everyone should do what I'm on about.
The Grask.
Yeah,
I only know that because I remember when we were watching Sarah Jane Adventures, when the little kid comes in, all you were doing was the... But okay, go tie it into the Grusk. How's this happening?
I think he's gonna be that, and the trickster's gonna come back.
Why would Conrad? What's he think? This giant Grusk.
I think the Grusk is the Doctor Who alien representation of the modern incel.
No, but I think does he not give the...
He does not give the...
Can that become a new dance?
I think that's probably already a dance.
Yeah, it's not.
It looks like some kind of Fortnite win.
But who do we think the third member of the Unholy Trinity is?
Trickster, are you so, like...
It could be. I think that's a solid shout.
Isn't it Conrad? Isn't it Conrad?
Did you listen, Artie?
The two Ranis count as one.
Russell said this morning
So,
there's another one, and he's teasing it's a god, he's teasing it's pantheon, he's teasing it's...
Oh my god! I tell you what, it'll be.
Good point. Good point. To be fair, you haven't been doing that this episode. You've made your first Artie moment.
It's because I roller coaster on Russell D Davis so much. Cause I've been up on him this series, then that final scene, and I was so down on him.
Right.
And then the preview in Unleashed, I was like so up, it got me hyped because I do think it's a cool little preview. And now just, the Rani count as well. How much do you want to fit into the finale?
It's just so much.
No. We've just had episode 7, right? I do think it was a problem in episode 7. They should have done more Rani stuff in episode 7. But we still have an hour and roughly an hour and 45 minutes to go. That is plenty of time to do a lot of stuff.
But
it's plenty of time to do a lot of stuff.
But it's not going to happen, is it? Because we know exactly how they do these things, and I can't trust them anymore.
I have faith.
I don't think they're going to carry on with 2 Ranis because I was so pissed off with the characterization of Mrs. Flood. She just lost all her life.
Yeah.
We're on the last scene now.
Yeah.
You know what? Tharis is taking way too long. That last scene, I genuinely think might be one of the worst scenes in Doctor Who.
No, I don't think
that's stretch.
No, come on.
It was shot so like a Sarah Jane Adventures episode. It was shot like it was just utterly bizarre.
But did she not eat? Like I kind of thought she ate. Like
she didn't eat.
Can't lie.
She was Anita Dobson lost all threatening.
Well, Anita Dobson, yeah, but
why was it? It was written as like a comedy scene. It was written as like a comedy scene, and it's supposed to be the return of the Rani. It's just I watched that and then cried at the memory of Utopia. It's like Russell knows how to do this.
Do you all remember podcasts ago when I told you?
Dragged him. Look what
he's made it. He's made it. Tharis, where are you? Tharis, come to us.
Should we all do this dance?
Wait, hello?
Tharis!
Hello? Hello?
I want to stop doing this.
Wait, hold on.
Can we end every episode with, now that's what I call a giggle?
Yes, we can.
Tharis, where are you?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Come on, we need the sex appeal for this.
Come on.
Cannot stop.
Come and double the hotties, Tharis.
I will. Hang on.
Me, you and Rylan.
The tech.
Oh no, but Rylan is like, his face has no pores. Like obviously it's very like.
I am a heterosexual man, but Rylan could get it, honestly.
Also, great. We haven't spoke. I didn't know Rylan was such a fan, and he's really like I don't know. I really enjoyed like his little thing when he walked.
Him looking round the TARDIS in Unleashed. It was so good.
No more Unleashed. No more.
No, but not even that.
It was so good.
You've joined us at a pivotal moment. Moment. What did you think of the Mrs. Flood reveal?
Oh, I know. I saw some of the chatter in the Snapchats. I saw that it had gone down like it's gone down like Brexit in our group chat. It was very divided in that.
So only Artie likes it.
Nice. No,
I am not a Brexiteer. I will not. Enough of the comment section already think I'm right wing. I'm not having them think I'm a Brexiteer as well.
I saw it and I was like, I thought it was fine. I've got two issues. And I don't know where everyone else sits on it. Two issues. I didn't hate the reveal. I thought it was quite fun. My two issues, though, why was it a post-credit thing randomly tacked on at the end?
Yes.
For a start. Why was it a randomly just like placed in randomly?
Go on, speak your truth. Speak your truth.
Speak your mind.
And also, the one thing that annoys me about it, obviously, I know we've got two of them because they're bi-generated, but all that just for like Mrs. Flood to be like the second in command one. I was like, you know, like why can't she be the? Why can't they be
play as well? Like,
why can't they be co-Ranis?
The problem is,
because unholy quadrilogy isn't a good enough for him. And I view the
it's exactly what they did last year with Susan Triad. You build her up. Who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Oh, she doesn't matter. She's just like the footnote to big returning villain. It's the same thing again, and I just don't get it. Because also, to be fair, once again, we've got to wait and see. I reckon that Mrs. Flood is going to turn against the Rani.
Yeah, I
because
think so too.
Just like in Echo's End, the younger version of the Master is getting bossed around by the older one, and the younger one gets fed up and goes, "Look, mate,
I was thinking
you've
about
had your
you
fun.
know what, Ross?
I was thinking of it more in terms of like the actual Doctor Who. World of Never
The
Time.
Doctor Falls.
Doctor Falls, yeah, where like Missy is like more. Missy is more sympathetic. Where
No, that's a different dynamic though, because Mrs. Flood's the younger one. Mrs. Flood is the younger one. Do you not remember Donna's iconic line from The Giggle? You came after him, so he is older.
You really do not like that last scene of The Giggle.
I feel like Mrs. Flood lost her pizzazz. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna say." She was like Artie to Joe.
Wow. No, I reckon she'll get sick of being bossed about though. I reckon she'll get sick of it. Artie never will. Artie never will.
Artie, are you sick of being bossed around yet?
I'll speak for Artie here.
Of course you will.
I thought, what if though this is a giant, brilliant double bluff, and Mrs. Flood is pretending to be the subservient wet wipe, and she's going to turn around and she's going to use the Rani for what she wants, and then she's going to turn around at the end of next episode, big cliffhanger, and go, I have actually been doing this, and then bring in
that makes no sense because they're the same person.
I bribed the architect.
I think she's going to die. I think she's going to die.
But also,
she's technically already
just Rosanna, she's going to die.
No, because that's my thing. They've got a new actress, so they don't need to pay Anita Dobson anymore. Why would they pay?
But you can't.
No, but
Anita's got to have a moment to shine.
Anita Dobson's only in it because she got along with Russell.
Have this big thing.
So they're fine with paying Anita Dobson, but
then why would they hire a brand new actress who's, by the way, stunning?
On that new actress, do you remember?
She were really good as well.
Remember when I told you all?
Yes, we all know she's the one from Life on Mars.
I love all the pictures of her and John Sim together. The unholy trinity.
She's from Bend It Like Beckham, you uncultured.
Oh, of course.
Hang on, wait, are you suggesting, Joe, that the third member of the unholy trinity could be the Saxon Master? And it's going to be an epic reunion.
It's actually going to be Missy, because Missy was at the premiere. I'll have you know.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
What's John Sims that would eat?
So,
I was thinking about this as well.
Hang on, hang on. Elise has been trying to speak for 10 minutes.
Order!
I watched Elise go like...
I haven't been here for 10 minutes.
I was watching the live chat last week, and there was someone in the comments that was venomously defending me at every turn because they were like, Tom has just spoken over Elise for the fourth time this episode. They were not happy with you.
Elise stands. It's because Elise, you suck up to the comments with your little... Everyone say hi to me.
If you want no one to talk over Elise, then when we do our special live episode, send in those super chats and fund her new microphone, because that is why we can't hear her talking. But anyway, Elise, what were you actually going to say about the episode?
I was going to say, in regard to the Rani, I think that the new Rani is so much more Rani-like than Mrs. Flood, because I think this is why I've been, obviously, we kind of knew Mrs. Flood was going to be the Rani. I know there might have been actual leaks and stuff. We all really. Okay, anyway, we all basically knew that Mrs. Flood was going to be the Rani, but Mrs. Flood does not give Rani.
She gives like kooky old lady that's creepy.
Yeah, she gives like slightly odd, but like, oh, bless her, pat her on the head and send her on her way kind of vibe. But,
I do get evil, but I don't get cunty evil.
Yeah, I don't get like evil
language.
Right, that word nowadays does not mean what it means. Okay?
You can have the debate in the comments. But anyway, Elise, carry on.
Just like the new Rani is so much like she is an evil scientist. She's like she's a bad bitch of Gallifrey. Like, oh yeah, go on. You know, and I feel like the new Rani, I mean, I don't know why bi-generation happened. I don't know why Mrs. Flood died, first of all, why a Time Lord couldn't survive being out that long, and
because her double brainstem got frozen, and that's lethal for a Time Lady.
Her double frame.
It's just something a female presenting Time Lord just can't cope with, apparently, because they're presented into fine. But she was...
I think she should have done something evil, like kill Mike and Gary, right?
The whole scene was too comedic. They had Mike and Gary, and she was just sort of popping off.
The biggest problem was that we see Doctor Who through the eyes of the companion and the Doctor. So why, in the ever-living anything, would you have the reveal not in front of the Doctor? Like
this week,
I want to see the Doctor go, you're Mrs. Flood, but also, is that coming next week?
Yeah, I think that's coming next week.
If it is coming next week, then why was it this...
Are you going, Rosanna?
Adam's
Goodbye.
outside.
Oh my God, it's
like
I'm subbing in for Rosanna.
I rate the episode about a 7 again out of 10.
Fair enough.
I'm very excited for next week. That's Adam. Bye.
Now that's what she calls a giggle.
Shout out Caroline Ford.
The one thing on Susan though is obviously it wasn't.
Oh, sorry, no, talk about Susan. I'm so angry.
Sorry, people were getting mad at me for talking over
I'm so angry about the Rani. I want to shout about it.
The absolute sass the Prince of the Confused Adipose comment section gave Elise, and I bet that won't be reported on. I bet you'll say nothing about that.
Oh, it's the RT bias.
Yeah, I know.
Rather than Thari's RTD bias.
There'll be no RT bias this week. I've got beef with the comments section later on. But anyway, let's talk about Susan.
Obviously, Caroline Ford is not as young as she used to be. That's
really
okay. Well, yes. The Doctor sees her. Is it insinuated that it was a memory flashback or what? Because he mentioned it. I don't know. It was all a bit weird. I don't know if we do know what.
I think it's her trying to call to him. That's what I got from it.
Okay, so did he think she was dead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because he says, is it Devil's Cord? Like, oh yeah, like this flux wiped out everyone. My granddaughter could be dead or whatever.
I mean, if I was a doting grandparent with a time machine, I think I'd pop and check.
Yeah, but that's the Doctor's whole thing, though. He doesn't check on Susan. We don't know why. That's the whole thing.
Okay, well, it better be revealed.
You could say
it's been implied multiple times that she died in the Time War.
No, but also, if we're going further back, the whole most iconic speech in the 60 years of Doctor Who. One day I shall come back. The point of that is he's saying, while I'm around, you will never get on and live your life. You've met this lovely man. Go off, live your life. I'm only holding you back. I don't want to see you, but I promise one day I will come back for you. That's what the Doctor's thing is. So I think he's left her there.
I'm with you on that. But I do think the death of your home planet several times over, because we've had that a few times, probably qualifies as a good reason for a little phone call or just a pop by.
But it's been implied multiple times it's been implied multiple times she died during the Time War, like throughout New Who.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't be like, oh, I've heard on a grapevine via my friends.
He blew them up.
If we want to go by
I'm guessing they're doing some kind of return.
if we're going pretty nerdy here, but I'm pretty sure in Big Finish, Susan goes back to Gallifrey, fights in the Time War, and the Doctor sees her there, and then she dies. I think that's the run. But Russell ran with the Masters genociding of Gallifrey in Series 12 somehow had a ripple effect and killed all Time Lords.
Yeah.
Apart from the Doctor, it doesn't really
and
make
the Rani
sense.
And the Master.
I was thinking,
well, no, because this is what I
think.
think. This is why I think they're doing like a big Gallifrey return, because Susan and the Rani, like this is like a moment. So I think it'll be explained.
I think it's going to tie into this whole reality war thing. I think the new reality that the Rani is going to try and, this is my theory, the new reality that the Rani is going to try and usher in is going to be a reality where the Time Lords still exist or are brought back in some capacity. Because that just makes sense.
I'm here for that.
You have the Time Lords back while explaining how they came back.
I reckon it will be all these gods and stuff, myths and legends have come into the universe because of the sprinkling of the salt. The Rani is at heart a scientist. She wants order and no mythology stuff in the universe. She wants to bring back the Time Lords to get rid of the gods and make the universe structured again in her image. And I think that's going to be the rough vibe of it. And then Conrad is going to be greedy and be like, I want to be a Time Lord. And he's going to do some absolute nonsense stuff because they think he's not a threat. They're like, he's a humble little podcaster. Like he's our puppet. Conrad's going to go against the two Ranis and do some mad stuff.
He's going to work with them and they're going to experiment on him.
That alliance is definitely not going to hold together because the whole thing with Conrad as well is that like he's like an egotist, like he's massively like he wants to be in charge, you know, he loves the idea of having power over other people, and I don't think he's going to take being bossed around by two women, you know, that type of man is definitely not going to have that.
That's true.
He's probably going to be like, now I'm going to do my own thing. Screw you guys.
I can't wait to see Mrs.
I think Conrad.
It's going to be great.
I think Conrad's going to turn out a bit like a Luke Rattigan, where he just gets like he's too close to the sun and his wings are going to get clipped. But can we go back shouting about the Rani, please?
Before we do, I just want to say,
oh my God.
I'm sorry. I was just saying, when you were saying that, I can just imagine Mrs. Flood being like, you've gotten a bit too big for your boots, dear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something like that, isn't it? It's like...
She'll be like, it's nothing personal. Zap.
It's just business, dear.
This is why I'm quite, like, as if she hadn't have been quite so subservient, I would have been here for this because, as I was saying, new Rani, Archie, what's her last name?
Punjabi, is it?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
She had Rani qualities about her. When she strutted out of that, I was like, that's the Rani. That's not just because I'm a bit worried as well with the whole thing they were saying about the Doctor's mortal enemy. I don't want them to basically turn the Rani into another Master and be like, oh yeah, God, we've been using the Master a bit too much recently. We'll just do an arch enemy from Gallifrey and it's just we've used the name of the Rani but nothing else. I really don't want that to happen. So I'm happy to have her. I think she's going to have a bit more of an authority about her than Mrs. Flood does. And if Mrs. Flood has a slightly more interesting character alongside that, I'm excited for that. But I liked the fact that it happened when it, maybe not as a post-credit scene. I can understand your disappointment with that. I'm happy it didn't happen in front of the Doctor.
I can see it.
I don't think that matters as much. I'm not gonna lie, but I just don't understand why it was this week.
Well, that's the big thing. It wasn't tied into anything, though. It was that's the biggest problem. It just happens.
So tacked
why
on.
does it just happen?
I understand that it's a little bit MCU in the fact that it's like now we're setting up the next thing, and I can get why that would cause annoyance. But for me, one of the reasons that I'm, not so interested in what's going to happen in this story is because this whole mystery box aspect of it, where it's like, who is Mrs. Flood? I don't want the entire.
There is also a mystery boss. You said it accidentally.
That's true.
But it's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You're right.
Hopefully the other.
It's gonna be Omega. It's gonna be. It just is gonna be Omega.
I can't wait for him to be turned into a cat.
If
I can't wait for someone to walk on screen and then die for no reason, and then they go, see, I had the Omega inside me, and for some reason I'm bi-generating, and I'm not actually the Omega, I'm kind of the Omega's bitch. So this new person's going to be the Omega. Like, why?
What if
Personally,
they
I can't wait
use
for them to watch Three Doctors
Mrs.
on an
Flood
iPad. Personally,
Anita Dobson's body to give Omega a body, to give him physical form in our universe?
Maybe that's why
he channels himself. That's why they've bi-generated, so that he can have a Time Lord host to come into our universe.
Or would that be, maybe that would be like how they use Conrad in, like, they're trying to bring Omega in, and Conrad wishes to be a Time Lord.
I don't want sexy Omega, that's weird. Look, you can't do that.
You know that Simpsons meme, stupid sexy Flanders, stupid sexy Omega.
Sexy Omega can't hurt you.
I know that Sutek was a dog, and you know that can go either way.
I'm not over it.
Omega better, if they bring Omega in, he better be wearing that Kronkin helmet. Like, come on now.
The one from the Three Doctors, not the Ark of Infinity. Let me just stress, not the Ark of Infinity.
I can borrow one that you've made.
Gotta be like proper bucket head. Yeah.
I don't mind. Look, if we better see the mask at least once, but I don't mind if his primary thing is not within the mask, because the cool thing with Omega is it won't even be a repeat of a classic story. We've never actually properly seen him in our realm. He can only exist in antimatter. Sure, he briefly
as well.
He briefly took the Doctor's body.
Me and Larry's aren't used to you nerds going off like this.
We've never seen him, other than briefly taking the Doctor's body, then just blowing up. We've never seen him just be able to walk in our universe.
You've never seen me.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm not necessarily really super hyped about, because I feel like at the moment they're just throwing pasta at a wall and hoping that it'll stick. Because it's just like, if they go, and we're bringing Omega back, and he's not just antimatter now, he's this thing. Like, I want these things that are, would be absolutely monumental for the Doctor Who lore to be dealt with a lot of care. Like, we don't need to have a million things shoved into the same thing. I want good storylines. I want them to, develop them in a way that's not just like, and the fans are going to go crazy because we put Susan in an episode. Like, actually,
that worked on me though. I know that. Like, I know that.
I'm there for it, but I don't. It was just.
I agree with you.
I think the thing is
thinking Mel in the 60th. Like, they.
Sorry, did you hear that?
Well, that's another point though. With Mel coming back.
What was it?
There was a car crash outside my house. That's why I stood up. No, it looks like no one's hurt, because the two drivers just got out their cars in the middle of the road, and they're saying some wonderful language.
Guys, Mrs. Flood is already causing chaos. She's bringing back the giggle, guys.
Oh no!
What was I going to?
You were going to say, which I agree with, Bonnie Langford in the giggle is finally going to have payoff. All that's going to make sense, because Bonnie is the one who faced the Rani. The Rani. Someone also made a really interesting point, right? Obviously, it's cringe, but you know how in the time of the Rani dresses up as Mel, and in the Doctor's post-regeneration haze, he thinks it's Mel. So there's that little thing. Someone noted, if you look at Mrs. Flood's costumes, everyone's been wondering, why does she dress like Clara in one episode? She dresses like Rory in one episode.
Does she?
Yeah, is it a little nod at, like, she's cosplaying the companion?
Hang on, are they going to get any adopted in a big, like, ginger wig?
Well, we've seen Mel in the trailer. Mel's in the trailer as all the things are going down. She's definitely going to be like, Melanie, I'm back.
Hello, dear. It's been a while. It's gonna be like a really camp version. You know that bit in Stolen Earth Journey's End where, like, Sarah Jane's crying over seeing except she's like, Rani, and she's like,
hello. I did think though, like, going back slightly to what Elise was saying with the new Rani's performance, it literally is identical to classic Rani. Like,
Rani, I don't.
Really good,
there's a second one, isn't there? I don't think I've watched any.
No, there's only the one.
Is it just
one
the
not big
first one?
finish, but those.
I wonder if they're going to tie in
so
Dimensions in Time, because Anita Dobson and EastEnders, she went to EastEnders in Dimensions in Time, saw Anita Dobson's face and was like, I'll have that. That's what
I mean,
that's what they need to do.
They do say in Doctor Who Unleashed, Caroline Ford's last appearance in Doctor Who was in the 1993 children's special.
How are you counting the Doctor Who EastEnders crossover as an actual episode?
I'm here for it.
This really is the Who Crew Unleashed special. The amount of times we've talked about it this week.
Going back to what Elise was saying.
Hang on, sorry. Can we just criticise and reprimand Artie for referring to us as the Who Crew? Because I'm not happy.
Artie.
We're the true Who Crew. Shooty can pretend to be a Doctor Who fan for the publicity, but we are the Who Crew.
I mean, the official Doctor Who podcast...
sound like one of the Conrads of the internet now, Martin.
The official Doctor Who podcast doesn't exist anymore, so...
True.
I guess
we can be the official Doctor Who podcast.
Going back to what Elise was saying on throwing too much at the wall, I do agree, and I'm also... The worry that I have with that is... because we're obviously doing every year kind of like a returning classic villain thing, I sort of feel like in the next few years we're going to be beginning to scrape the bottom of the barrel a little bit.
The next few years, we've already reached it. When the Rani reveal happened, I was like, oh, well, okay, we've literally got nobody else it could be, so Russell's gone, oh, okay, fine, I'll bring back the Rani. Like, do you know what? I felt underwhelmed.
Do you know when John Sim was in Series 10 and everyone knew, but you sort of wanted it not to be the Master? You wanted it to be some other twist. And then...
I wanted it to be the Master. John Sim is the best man. Who was sat there going, I hope John Sim's not John Sim in this episode?
You were. When Series 10 was coming out, it's like the problem is we all knew it was the Master.
Do you want to go back? There is document evidence on this channel. I absolutely adore John Sim. John Sim was literally my favourite villain. Why would I be sat there going, I hope that's not John Sim's Master?
John Sim's a great Master, but we had lots of conversations about how it's a shit, like the twist didn't really work as a twist because everyone knew, and it was sort of like, what's a better example? Sorry, is the Vault in Series? I'm confusing it.
They're completely different.
Everyone knew that Missy was in the Vault. Basically,
that was ridiculous.
And so it was disappointing when she was, because even though she's awesome and it's great to have her back, it's like you want the surprise. And the issue, like one of the many issues with that scene was just that there was no surprise there. It was just, here's what's happening.
I think, to be fair, I mean, part of that is just, I mean, you know, far be it from me to stop people leaking things. But I guess, you know, I guess the fact that it, you know, everyone knew partly wasn't their fault, although I do agree that it's quite predictable as well. Although part of me is also like, I was watching it again, not to keep bringing up Unleashed, because apparently that was a bit of a running theme. Apparently this is a running... I did remember Russell T Davies saying in it, like, you know, everyone thought she was going to be the Rani since the first time she was introduced. So you know what? Yeah. I went, sometimes you just want to give people what they want. She's the Rani. And you know what?
Does that mean that when she first came in, Russell hadn't written her as the Rani?
I think
I wouldn't be surprised. The
way he sounds in that interview is that he had options of where he could take the story. It's not because fans guessed she's the Rani that he did it. It's more he was like, well, duh. Who else? Like, you all think it's the Rani because it is the Rani, which I think is a bit silly, because it's exactly like the Vault, which is what Artie's saying. Don't build it up as a mystery, because I'm not going to lie, we'd still be going, why is the Rani cropping up every episode following the Doctor if we knew it was the Rani? I almost feel like at the end of season 1, when like Empire of Death finishes or whatever, we pan up to her on the roof. Something could have happened that injured her during that, and that's when we see the bi-generation.
She falls off the roof.
Or if she even said, like, let battle commence or something. Like,
well, no, she does. She says it'll end in absolute terror. Then this week she's like, I told you.
That was really funny. I thought
that was funny. I love the line of the new Rani when she's popping out. It's like, must we? How inelegant. That was such like a Rani line.
Yes, yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect. Like, I gotta say, just shout outs to that actress. I think she did a phenomenal job.
She was good.
Nailed the Rani-ness.
We've got her for 2 weeks. I'm there for it.
Maybe my issue was with the dialogue, but it felt like watching Power Rangers. It was like, I am an evil villain and I'm delivering my lines like this. You're my subservient. Do as I
get that
say.
It was goofy, but I feel like the Rani always kind of
No, but
was.
that's the problem. That's the problem. Because this is something else I want to address. When Russell brought back the Master, brought back the Daleks, brought back the Cybermen...
I weep for Utopia.
He completely...
The Master reveal.
No, but he completely reinvented them while still being true to the character. He made them fresh for a new audience. This is very good because I like I don't like Time of the Rani, I like the Mark of the Rani. So I'm sat there going, that's literally the perfect drop. But that's classic Who. You've got to reinvent. Don't turn her into a dog, but you've got to reinvent her for a modern audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just have, because she is so classic Who. That might change next week. I don't know.
I am very hyped for next week.
We're back.
I need to talk to you about that afterwards. But just...
Talk about what, Therese? We're currently back in the podcast. What do you mean?
The bushes.
You know, when we were
bushes.
laughing ourselves silly last episode while Artie was reading the comments, you know that comment that we had to reread loads of times?
Oh, I do.
And you cut back and we were all just absolutely pissing ourselves. And there were people in the comments like, I'm desperate to know what Therese...
It'll be a mystery. It's a mystery. This is our own Mrs. Flood kind of thing. Leave
your guesses in the comments below as to what it was.
Yeah, it'll be an underwhelming reveal, we can promise that.
Spoken a lot about the Rani, but the reason that I did quite like the fact that it was sort of I had a nice way of wording it earlier. It's been about 20 minutes. I don't have a nice way of wording it anymore. But the fact that that's now out of the way, because I hated the fact that the whole point of this series, that the main thing has been who is Mrs. Flood. Now it is, what's Mrs. Flood gonna do? And if we all kind of knew it was the Rani, so if it came to be in Wish World or the Reality War, this is who Mrs. Flood is, grand reveal, I'd have felt a little bit like, so this is what you're doing for the finale, right? Okay, well, we all sort of half knew that, and you know, we've done all of these big reveals. I'm quite happy that reveal happened, and then now it's like, what are we going to do?
I get what you're saying, but I think the problem is the reveal 100% should have happened in episode 6. 100%. And I know it's I described it in my review as if my grandmother had wheels, she'd have been a bike situation, because it's completely different. But when you've got the highest budget episode of Doctor Who ever, which will be watched by the most people because it's sandwiched in between Eurovision and the football, you want a big reveal of Mrs. Flood. You don't want a post-credit scene, you want her on stage, live in front of the audience. Big, bombastic, like that's so Russell style. And I know that's not, and you didn't have to do exactly that, but I just think it wasn't treated with the importance that it deserved. It's almost like if Mrs. Flood hadn't been in every episode and she was still kind of occasionally there, and let's say we didn't even know she was at the Interstellar Song Contest, it's a complete shock. She just comes out of that machine at the end and we're like, what? And then she's like, I'm the Rani. It would be a big reveal. But Russell has spent every week going, when you get to the Interstellar Song Contest, everything's going to change. You just wait. The whole thing was marketed, so we knew that would be the Flood reveal. And it just felt like, oh, is that it? If we had no idea it was coming and it happened, I think people would receive it a lot better, because it would be a shock. It would be like whoa, I didn't expect Mrs. Flood to be revealed now. That's going to be in the finale. But we knew she was going to be revealed now. And it was like a footnote in the episode.
Also, the scene, like...
He's back.
The scene itself, it just wasn't good. It was so, like, just unmotivated by anything in the episode. It's just like, the way I described it to my brother, because I really enjoyed the episode, I just hated that scene. But it was just like, I've just gone out for a really nice meal and really enjoyed the food. But just before I left, the waiter slapped me around the face. And it's like, I enjoyed the food, but I'm leaving the restaurant in a bad mood. It's like, you know, it's just so disappointing.
Valid.
Can I say something on the Rani as well?
No.
You may.
Okay, fair enough, I won't. Guys, I listen to Elise, guys.
You're here for eye candy, not opinions.
Now, one thing I will say is I think the Rani works better as a finale villain in this context than Sutek did last year. Because at least with the Rani, it's easy to explain, okay, she's another one of the Doctor's lot. Got it. I'm with you. Why do the casual audience care about Sutek? I get that, like, they make him a god, But I still don't think that's enough to really go.
No, I disagree. It was just the way they handled Sutek. Sutek ties in more because the whole thing's about this pantheon, these gods. We faced Maestro, we faced the Toymaker. Now you've got the god of all.
I kind of have the opposite opinion entirely because, the gods have been so set up in this era. They're the one thing that's working like really nicely, this pantheon idea. Whereas the fact that he's the last of the Time Lords, partly because he's gone through therapy in reverse, or however they phrased it, like it's got less weight to it. He brings it up every once in a while, but for the audience of just Shooty's era, is the fact that this woman's a Time Lord that impactful?
I don't know, because my thinking as well, not to be too nerdy, but Sutek wasn't actually a god originally. He was actually an Osiren, which is a different species.
No, but the point is, if you reinvent him...
Oh, Tharis.
You're reinventing
You see,
him
I understand in these moments why Twitter hates you.
Obviously, this episode was written before significant things progressed. We can all assume pretty safely that the politics in the episode is a microcosm of the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I think it's an interesting thing to put into Doctor Who. I wouldn't have done it personally. I understand it's very important to have social relevance to things. That's why episodes like Lux in its tackling of racism is, necessary for Doctor Who. I think putting in an ongoing conflict that
do we know that it's about that specifically? Because I think that's definitely how it can be. Yeah, but this.
No, but it is.
See, this is the thing though, is that unlike Lux or Rosa, where it's what you are going in and experiencing like Doctor Who doing this. This is Doctor Who doing Eurovision and a terrorist plot line sort of interwoven throughout. It's not one for one. So I very much doubt that, unlike how Russell's been very clear about how he wants to keep the show culturally like relevant and modern, I doubt this was I could be mistaken, but I doubt this was an articulated ploy to be like, we're going to discuss this. Also,
the biggest problem with it though is if it is that, it doesn't say enough or make a strong enough stance or point on anything. And if it is that, the Doctor's actions are really not good to have your protagonist do.
This is what really annoys me about it, is because it feels quite clear that they wanted to do this Interstellar Song Contest idea, which I think is really cool as an idea. Obviously, there's a big tie into Eurovision. They mention Eurovision in the episode. Eurovision, obviously, is politically on strange ground at the moment because blatantly
Eurovision's always been absurdly political. It's like X Factor with politics.
But obviously, because you've had Eurovision have said that Russia can't compete, and now they're allowing Israel to compete. Obviously, Shooty dropped out. We don't know if that's connected. We can assume. That's less of a safe assumption.
We could guess. There's no evidence. But
what's this about Shooty dropping out?
Shooty was going to present Eurovision and dropped out within a few hours after Israel qualified. That could be a complete coincidence. In Eurovision's promotional video, they have a line that says, "La da da, we're politically neutral. It doesn't matter if you're nice or brutal." That was in Eurovision's promotional thing. Everyone's got their own. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even know that.
I had no idea about that.
It was in their little
song. See, this is the thing.
It was their little song, and it feels like they went, it's on funny ground. We should probably reference this to make sure that we're kind of in the clear.
The only thing is, though,
hazard story.
When did they think of that, though? Because this episode was starting to be written in 2021. So it really, I think that the problem with the politics of it is, if you're not saying anything direct and strong, don't try, because it ends up making the Doctor look bad, and it ends up being sort of half-baked, and you don't take much away from it other than, the Doctor probably shouldn't have done that.
Had Shooty gone on to actually end up presenting and he couldn't get out of it, I am of the opinion that the episode should have been pulled from being on television, because I think him then going after that episode and then going and presenting Eurovision with Israel almost won as well, I think that would have been absolutely horrendous. Because he didn't then go and present it, I'm willing to go, okay, obviously it's a tenuous link. It's clear what it is. There's absolutely no way that that was not in reference to it. That Israel have a what is it Moroccan or argan oil or something?
Yes.
The
Yeah,
oil
they have an oil thing
that sponsors Eurovision. It was very, very clear. I think, obviously, using that as the moment that the Doctor confronts his bad side, I think is.
See, this is the thing. If it is that clear cut, what on earth? Why would you make the Doctor do that? Because it just.
I don't think it. I don't think it can be that intentional.
It comes, having thought about it more, I think it does come across muddled. Originally, when I watched it, my thinking was, okay, they've shown that this corporate sponsor to the event has, stripped this land of its resources. It's quite obviously framed as sympathetic in that sense. It's not framed as the corporation is great and it's the terrorists that's the problem. It's very much framed. It's very much framed as the corporation did this to them. My thing is, and obviously people, and I think there is a valid conversation to be had about why would you make the terrorist in this case be the freedom fighter? Absolutely. I think that's a valid point to make. My thing is the thing that frustrated me in the discourse about this was less from it's partly to do with the real world side of it, but also from the Doctor as a character perspective. If we strip it of its real world context for a second, the argument being made about the Doctor doing the tasering or the electrocuting or however it is he does it, at that point, within the context of the story, he does believe that this character is about to kill like 3 trillion people.
He knows that he can save the day, though.
No, but also the problem with that is you can't strip it from the context of the story because someone wrote it. It's fiction. Do you know what?
Yeah,
why would you
agree.
write the characters into that position? Whether the Doctor would do that doesn't matter because the Doctor's not real.
It's more
so why would you put characters in? Why would you frame it?
The argument I disagree with is just that I don't think the Doctor is necessarily that out of character in that circumstance. You can argue that he shouldn't be in that circumstance, and that's a fair enough argument. My argument is just this is the same man who consigned the family of blood to like.
But also, I do think not that this is the most important part of it, but I do think it is out of character because the Doctor. Why on earth? Like he would be on the side of the oppressed. The Doctor would be the one going. Look at oxygen. Look at oxygen. The Doctor should be there going. Why did he never say to Kid, look? What you're doing is wrong, but I see what you mean. There are other ways about this. Come with me. Let's try and help it. But then also, does that belittle it? I don't know.
This is one of the things I was going to ask. This is one of the things why I was talking earlier about like how his arc should have been across the whole series, because like. If this was built up as the Doctor, he starts seeing Susan and he's getting really pent up over the death of the Time Lords. It's essentially a Dalek moment where Christopher Eccleston's bashing out the Dalek because he's essentially really cross.
Really
Susan
cross.
Susan makes it a lot more personal. So he's remembering the death of his family, and then this guy's going to kill 3 trillion people, and it brings it back. So he gets really cross, and he's going to zap them. That's in theory not out of character for the Doctor, and it could be a nicely built up moment. But I think the issue is that it wasn't built up over the series. It all happened in one episode, and if it was over the series, then the elements of Belinda that are scared of the Doctor because she's obviously trapped in this TARDIS, that would work way better. So in terms of him torturing
that's my issue with it as well, is how glibly and how nonchalantly they just sort of carry on after it. That I fully agree with. The fact that he does that, and he, in fairness, why I'm not as annoyed at it as I think some people are, is that the Doctor does look visibly horrified at what he's done after it.
But they could have dealt about. They could have done about that differently.
My point is just that they don't treat it as a moment of triumph. It's not.
I think
my issue is the end scene. Belinda should have called him out. That should not have been a
I do think
you're wonderful moment.
I think if
This
you're,
is, like,
if you're
pedantic as well,
humanizing, if you're humanizing Kid in the way that he was humanized, you need to have the Doctor and him come to an understanding, like, or something, because Kid's motivation is understandable and a little bit too real, I think. And it's like, if you, I just, the whole thing got really messy.
I think it was an odd choice to have him, because the Doctor seemingly learns about Kit's homeworld through the song, right? Or at least that's the implication.
The song, can I speak on the song for a moment? Because I think the song on its own is really, like, Cora's whole character, I really enjoyed that. The fact that she was, you know, she'd hidden this bit of herself to do this thing that she really wanted to do, this thing that she loved.
I have a nitpick about how she hid herself, because I guess she was a goat because she had the hair and it perfectly fit where the horns would go. And I thought she was going to move her hair and the horns would be there, but then it was all cut at the back. So I thought that was great. But anyway, sorry.
How did you manage a guy who's known her for 10 years not ever see the wig get taken off?
He was a useless character as well, but she had this, you know, very heart-wrenching story about hiding this bit of herself to compete with this thing that she loved, even though, you know, it didn't accept her for who she was, but she wanted to do it because she loved it. I think that's a really beautiful story that could be extrapolated into lots and lots of different situations. And then obviously it comes to her singing this song about Helia and about her journey. And I think that could have been a really powerful moment. I did have a couple of tears in my eyes when thinking about the content, and obviously with the...
I loved the imagery. The imagery of Helia was awesome.
However,
I am worried if that was AI imagery, I will throw hands.
It wouldn't have been.
No, I don't.
However, in the context of the episode, it very much feels like, because the Doctor's all there for that, you can protest what's happening to you as long as it fits within our boundaries, as long as you're doing it. So you're making it beautiful, you're making it a song, you're coming into our spaces, you're doing it on our terms. And that is, I think, the underscoring of the 100%. Whole politics
also,
of the episode.
it was a little bit...
I was a little bit Gal Gadot during COVID. But this is probably, I've written down here, I think the episode was trying to kind of say, which I understand where it was coming from, because I don't think it's bad intent, I just think it's muddled. But I think the episode's thing was sort of like the power of like this song contest, and especially in a way, like the power of music brings everyone together, and like you've got to go about things in a peaceful way, which is understandable, but also I think it's too simplistic for this matter, because I don't think there's not always a peaceful way to go about these things. And I think simplifying it down to, I mean, it's a very Doctor Who idea of like, don't use violence, only it's like singing.
And the Doctor combats that idea with violence. If he was shouting, I'd have a complete... If he was yelling at this person and saying, you can't do that, I'd have a completely different opinion.
It reminds me a bit of my issue with...
I think
it reminds me a bit of my issue with, you know, the 12th Doctor speech in the Zygon inversion, where it's like, you know, the whole like thing of war's always the same, you know, you're all as bad as each other. And I'm like, I don't think that is the case for every war.
I don't agree with the 12th Doctor speech, because I think that's a very specific scenario. I mean, I think the problem is, though, the common theme, Doctor Who is going too close to the sun with some of this stuff. Yeah. And I think for the show that Doctor Who is, it probably shouldn't.
I think as well, there's something very jarring about having an episode about something so genuine contrasted with, hey guys, look, the Rani's back. Yeah. There's something a bit there's something a bit odd about that. I don't know what it is. I mean, the thing is, when I watched it at first, as I said, I thought, okay, I think I was worried that they were going to make more of a meal out of it than they did. I was really worried that the terrorist guy, that the Hellion guy, was going to be just unambiguously like have no point and just be evil. And like I was really worried that that's how they were going to frame it. They didn't do that, obviously, and they do show the sympathetic side. So I think I was just relieved on watching it that they go, okay, you know, there is a reason for him to be annoyed. But having thought more on it, I agree with what a lot of you guys are saying. It's not enough to simply be like, it's not enough to simply go, well, you know, this was bad. It's also, you've got to do more than that. I don't know. I agree with what a lot of you guys are saying here.
Yeah, I think that's probably a nice point to bring our episode, the thoughts on the episode, to a conclusion and get to reading your guys' comments, because, yeah, we're not the most qualified people to discuss this, but neither's Doctor Who, to be honest. We're now here to read your guys' comments, and we have a special guest. Special guest, reveal yourself.
Hello.
It's Rory Stock, the wonderful Rory Stock, voice of Davros, voice of the Daleks, Sontaran extraordinaire, etc. How are you, Rory?
I'm doing good.
In the Echo films. In the Echo
films. In actual Doctor Who next year. There's a link
waiting
for you guys.
Also, I'm still waiting spare time as well.
Yeah. I did all the time factor dressed as a nude.
Icon.
Yeah.
Did they get you confused with the one that actually died? Because isn't there a nude that actually dies?
Don't remind me.
Okay, sorry.
Is his name Brian? Brian the Ood.
Brian the Ood. He's an icon.
Yeah, free up Brian. But we're here to read comments. Take it away, Hugh. Who's got the duty this week?
I think I got them up.
Okay, you're up.
Artie can't read. Right. First up,
He's not even Artie. Artie, are you here?
Artie.
Deliberately being
I'm here, I'm just sad.
All right, our first one is from Daniel Horner 05. The trickster is their leader, has granted their wishes. Hence, Wish World, I assume is the...
Rosanna's on board with that theory.
I like it. I know Joe wants it to be Omega. I'm a fan, Daniel.
I think
more people would be excited about being the trickster as well. I mean, I think it's good as well because it's not just relying on classic Who villains. It's going, hey, for us, who's nostalgic about your childhood, I like that. It wouldn't just be a repeat of Sutek.
Same with if it was the Grask. Same with if it was the Grask.
Yeah. I guess it ties in the Pantheon better as well because the trickster is like the founder of the Pantheon, and his whole thing was, agreements and wishes. So it does kind of track.
I don't know. I got burnt by the trickster already in series 1. I'm not willing to get my hopes up again.
But then, see, this is the thing. It could recontextualize series 1. The stuff with Ruby singing the trickster's motif. Could that all be a genius slow play? Probably
see, it would be better
not.
if it was Mrs. Flood because of the hood thing she wears at the end of series 1.
It would be genius. Right, next comment.
One of them is we've already discussed that. So I'll go to Brandon R. Hobson. Rogue may even make an appearance if there's some dimensional mentally.
Good point.
I didn't think about that. He was at dimension somewhere, wasn't he? So
I doubt they would hide the fact that Jonathan Groff is in an episode.
That's where the budget would go, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
My mate from America did make a good point. He wondered if the place that he was sent to at the end of Rogue was actually the place that they mentioned. Was it in an episode or description? The
Underverse.
Yeah.
It could be, to be fair.
I was going to rewatch to check it, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, it's the Underverse, right, is described in the Giggle as the Doctor's like, it's the Toymaker's realm, it's where the TARDIS slipped in the first Doctor's era, and Russell said it in the finale, the Underverse is rising. So it's got to be like the gods, Pantheon, whatever, are coming out of wherever this Underverse thing is. Could be quite cool. I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right, well then, the next few are also from Brandon, and I love you, Brandon, but I can't have you hogging all the comments. So we're going to move on. We've got Spring Season Motion Pictures saying we may be left on a cliffhanger at the end of Reality War that shows Gallifrey returning or the tear. I assume the tear in this context would be the Crack in Time tear, right? Is that what they're referring to?
Why? Why?
Oh.
Well, I guess because the Crack in Time is what they came from last time, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what they mean by the tear anyway.
Can't bring Gallifrey back though. Like, it's dead. It's back. It's dead. It's
a bit end of time, isn't it?
And Russell would never pirate his own work.
I feel like they're going to bring Gallifrey back eventually. It would be nice to have a few more years where they just stick to a script for a little bit longer. But if they don't, if they bring it back, just let it stay. Just let it stay, work out this, because then you could do suddenly the Time Lords are holding these rules again, and the Doctor has to obey to this like higher power, he's been used to running free, and you could turn that into a really cool thing, as long as you don't then kill them off at the end of the next season, because I'm so fed up of that. So fed up.
They're like Uncle Ben for Doctor Who, aren't they? They're like Uncle Ben for the Blades. You know, every few years the Time Lords have got to be gone.
The ratings are gone. Gallifrey, sorry, you're getting blown up again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sat here after editing Echo's Destiny where Gallifrey gets destroyed again.
Spoilers!
It's in the trailer. The trailer might be out by the time you guys are watching this podcast. Whoa.
Oh.
That's the group chat going off. Thank you, Osh.
Next comment. We've got Freya Coley here who says, Susan! That was my reaction.
That's so real. So real.
But also, not a fan of the boy generation. I think we covered that. Hoping for a Mavity payoff as it's getting old. I was thinking this when I was watching it. I was like, we're still doing Mavity. They made it.
No, I love it. I love it.
Fine,
I do. I
was thinking they're making a very big point of it this week. And I am wondering if it's going to factor in at all.
Yeah, but if they were saying gravity, you wouldn't think that they'd made a big point of gravity.
Well, if my grandmother has wheels, she would have been a bike, because they weren't saying gravity, weren't they? They were saying Mavity.
No, my point is, I don't think they were making a big deal of it as a plot thing. I just think that gravity was relevant to the episode, and gravity doesn't exist in Doctor Who anymore. How long are they going
to keep it up, though?
I genuinely hope forever. I think in the world of Doctor Who, gravity is called gravity, and that's the best thing.
I saw someone's comment about Ruby stepping on a butterfly. You know how that changed things for that episode. What if it didn't change things? Is it going to come into play in this whole reality war thing? I wonder if Mavity will have a bit of payoff in that sense, because it is obviously a change. We are now in a parallel universe of what we were in before because of this one tiny little thing. So I do think that hopefully, I'm with you, Faris. I think there should be some
Rory, I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on bi-generation. We've had a lovely discussion about Mrs. Flood and stuff. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the original bi-generation was that it was poorly done, and I think it really robbed Ncuti of that time to actually get to know his Doctor and become the Doctor. Like, imagine if Matt Smith turned up fully formed, then the 11th hour was just completely different. You know?
I get exactly where you're coming from, but also I think Ncuti's so good in those first moments that I feel like it's the closest I've ever warmed to a Doctor immediately, and I think I wouldn't want to swap that out. But anyway, carry on.
He is great in the moments, but it's sorry, train lost thought. Hang on. Yeah, he's great in the moments, but like I feel like a reason a lot of us have sort of not quite gotten Ncuti's Doctor is because he hasn't had that time to find himself, because he just came out fully formed. And
I really appreciated that. I'm not going to lie, because I think, we've seen that first Doctor episode so many times. I really appreciated just the sort of Christopher Eccleston style, throw him in, this guy's the Doctor, we're just going to show him being the Doctor.
I'm with you, Rory. I like I do think it is getting to know the Doctor as well. I think the only time that really has had bad payoff is in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, when she goes, "Oh, what's that? It's on the tip of my tongue. What's my name? What's my name?"
I like that. Smart boy biology.
Basic. I know I like the episode, but I really dislike that whole thing because it just oversimplifies this really grand concept of finding out who you are. Oh, what's my name, guys?
But Rory, the new bi-generation, the Rani bi-generation, the two Ranis, which people keep making two Ronnie jokes.
I already did.
I love that. I like it.
You know what? I thought it was actually, at first I thought it was actually a good use of bi-generation. But the more I think about it, the more bi-generation is making things like even worse. We're still feeling the effects of it 2 years on, and I don't know how. Because now we've got this new Rani who is like probably going to upstage the character that the mystery has been centered around this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And that just feels like we haven't really seen what Mrs. Flood can do, and already she's, who cares?
I really hope Anita Dobson gets her moment to shine. Like, I'm holding out that there's something in it for her, but because I don't want her to just be relegated to a sidekick. I'm hoping she's not. Let's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Honestly, you wait for one Rani to show up and then two come along at once.
Oh, it's always the way. It's always the way. Right, Tharis, next comment.
Yes, let me get them up because we clicked off it for a second. My apologies.
Disgraceful.
I know. Sorry, now I'm just seeing Artie's Bitmoji and chat. Anyway, right. Let me have a look.
For context,
lovely view at the top of your head, Tharis.
While Tharis finds them, Artie changed his Bitmoji. You know where you can do it, so like you scan the face, and it's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. It's
and he can't change it back now, and he's got a really strange Bitmoji.
Oh dear God.
It's
I
not a looker.
I got rid of the beard and it's slightly better.
The hair's pretty on point. It's a bit short, but it's the same.
It's too stylish. No offense, Artie. I know this podcast considers you a hottie.
I'm one of the hotties.
But
also, someone said in one of the chats the other day that they were like, "You'll be," because I was complaining about my haircut, and they went, "At least your haircut's fine. Artie, yours is all right as well. The other two need a bit of work." Then.
Disgraceful.
Wait, hang on a minute.
I'll be telling my barber, and he'll be angry with you.
We've switched places. I've graduated to a hottie, and you've been done to
Listen, I feel like I was already an honorary hottie as it was. This is the only thing I have.
What do you mean honorary, Tharis?
Oh. Anyway, next comment. Let's go. Next comment. Yeah. Woo. Yoan _4073 loved the episode. Probably my least favourite apart from Revolution, but they've all been fab. I think I broadly agree with that. I still don't think there's an episode in the bunch that I would go, oh, really don't want to watch that one again, or that one was really bad.
None of them have been terrible, which I'm glad at. Like, there's been no space babies, there's been no whatevers. It's all been, like, pretty solid.
Until the finale.
No, don't tempt fate. I have faith. Wishworld's going to be great. The Reality War is going to be the best episode ever. Please, Russell. Please.
I think there's a strong chance that Wishworld will be really good. And I think there's an even stronger chance that the Reality War...
Don't make me go back.
You guys planning on seeing it at the cinema?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get tickets.
Artie owes me for a ticket, and you owe me for the ticket to Ellie's show. You still haven't paid. Pay up, man.
Where's our podcast royalties, Joe?
Anyway, next comment.
I'm not even getting paid for this.
I know.
No, we're not either.
Next cameo. We've done 6 weeks, 3 hours apiece, and not seen a penny.
Look, this is a hobby. Look at the views on this compared to my normal videos. They're flops. They're flops. This is fun. You guys should be thanking me.
I'm claiming my tickets as payment.
He's actually holding us at gunpoint.
Your tickets total to about £50.
Yeah, it's about my appearance cost.
All right, I want to talk about this one because it's something I think you can bring up. I'm going to be honest, I'm really struggling with that name. Oh, wait, I think I've got it. KPT Lobster Legs.
Nice. Shout out to KPT Lobster Legs.
I was sat there, I was like trying to translate that for a second. How can the Rani break the fourth wall? My thing about this, my thinking, and I guess you could say it's a stretch logic, my thinking is the Doctor can break the fourth wall.
No, boo. I want an explanation, Russell.
When did the Doctor break the first wall?
He's done it.
What, the first wall?
The first wall ever built, the oldest wall in the universe.
When did the Doctor break the fourth wall?
And Merry Christmas.
It was Heaven Sent, wasn't it?
Yeah,
there we go.
Well, technically, yes,
Mel would be proud.
Yeah, no. I guess there's Devil's Court. He winks at the camera and says, "I thought that was non-diegetic," and then you get
best line as well.
Right.
I love that line.
You also get the Capaldi being like, "Oh, I'm nothing without an audience."
No, but his stuff in Listen, which is one of my favourite scenes in all of Doctor Who when he explains the bootstrap paradox. It's like a cutaway thing. I do think Mrs. Flood's got to be explained because it's.
Don't want to be that guy.
God, no, it's not. It's under the lake. It's under the lake, isn't it?
It might actually be before the flood.
It is before the flood.
You know what, Artie?
Oh, do you know what?
We'll let you off. You're not here for your knowledge, are you? You're here.
No, I'm here for the eye candy.
I'm apparently really done talking not. He was.
I'm here for the fly haircut and the eye candy.
Right, Thary's next comment.
Next question. This one's just funny, so I'm going to read it. Vincent 2012, nice. Vin_sent, very good. What if Conrad is Keanu Reeves? Exclamation mark.
Not again. I'm not having this.
And then,
Again.
This person was in the live
word
chat as
kebab
well.
shot.
They were in my live chat on my latest live stream, just going,
were last week
Keanu
as
Reeves,
well.
Keanu Reeves. They were here last week. Why Keanu Reeves?
Also,
Do you know what? If Keanu is in
said,
Doctor Who, I'll be so happy.
They just said kebab shop at the end as well. I don't know what that has to do. The only thing I will say, it would be funny if Conrad by generated Keanu Reeves pops out. Hello.
No.
And then they all
I've
meet for a
cracked it.
kebab at Pertwee's Burgers.
Go on.
Yes.
I've cracked it. Sutek was Keanu Reeves' dog. Doctor killed Sutek.
It's the only way.
Sutek is the dog that died at the start of John Wick.
Yeah, oh my god.
Absolutely marvellous.
Russell, get us on the writing team. You'd have a series out in Toronto. I'm trying to find.
Thanks for providing the incidental music while we wait.
Welcome to my lift music compilation. Blocked Flux.
Dagadoo.
Oh yes, we talked about Dagadoo. Anyway, Blocked Flux. Solid first two acts. The final part and reveal ruined it. I'm assuming by final part and reveal he means the Doctor's
moment, we should say.
Yeah.
The moment.
and also the reveal. What's your thing on the reveal, Rory? Because we've all sort of said our piece.
Well, without swearing, it's kind of with swearing.
Dog shit.
It's a bit wank, isn't it? Yeah, no, I didn't really see it until I saw Drew's video, but yeah, it's kind of weird that this big reveal was just slapped at the end. It feels like they needed something, because this was going to be the episode that would bring in some more viewers because of Eurovision. So it feels like they needed something to keep those viewers for next week.
Yeah.
So they just slapped it after the credits, and it's like,
So they went, hey, new viewers that don't have an idea what Doctor Who is, this person who you don't know has just split into two people, said they're a character that you don't know, and walked off screen.
It was so good watching it with my family, because I'd warned them in the morning that it's underwhelming, and they really enjoyed the actual episode. But then the Mrs. Flood reveal, my mum was like, who's that? What's going on? And my sister was like, am I supposed to care? It was just like the casual audience don't know the Rani. But then in a way, you could argue, right, devil's advocate here. If the casual audience don't care about the Rani, is it better that they didn't place a load of importance on the reveal because it allows the casual audience to feel like...
It's a fair point.
No.
If you just regenerated to me
Utopia.
half an hour ago, that's exactly what I was saying.
But Utopia is the template for how to do it. You spend a series emphasising the fact that he's a Time Lord is the thing that's important, and the Doctor being sad about not having any Time Lords. Then you just have an episode where there's this mysterious guy who's at the forefront of the plot who you kind of like, and then he goes, I am the Master. And it's like, oh my God. Do you know...
Excellent Derek Jack.
I love this episode, but as soon as you see the credits, pause it and then watch Utopia. Because Jesus, Utopia is so good.
I think in complete fairness to it, I think it's different. I think Rani and the Master are on a bit of a different level. And I'm not saying that you can't treat the Rani with a moment of hype. However, I think when we were talking about obviously having a big reveal moment and how that would kind of confuse the casual audience. I can imagine people watching The Legendary Sunday and that Sutek name comes up and they go, who?
Yeah, they probably don't know.
A lot of them. Yeah,
I can imagine that being a thing. Whereas at least this, as I was kind of saying earlier, she's a Time Lord. Some people probably vaguely understand what a Time Lord is, if not the Rani. I guess maybe it works for better. I don't know. I mean, I still think you're going to be done better.
But even in Legend of Ruby Sunday, they kind of have two reveals in that you have the name, which is the reveal for the fans, but then they still back up the dramatic intrigue by saying, here's a big CGI dog for you all to look at.
And he's the god of
it's like they communicate it twice, one for the fans, one for the casual audience. This was inane. Nothing.
And I agree with Artie that it felt a bit like casual of a reveal. Like, this is what you do for someone like Missy, who's already established in New Who, but not only the fans know the Rani, so you need to make it work in a way where you're kind of introducing the character or showing people why they should care about them.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of telling, not showing, isn't there, in this new era? I think that sums it up. We'll read because most people, I'd imagine most fans of Doctor Who today haven't watched all of Classic Who, and it's only because we're little spider little creatures that sit and talk to each other about Doctor Who all the time because we've got no other friends.
Speak for yourselves. Come on now.
Sorry, I'm not a hottie like you, Artie.
She was actually speaking for you exclusively.
But you just can't, I don't know, most genuine fans of Doctor Who probably don't know who the Rani is, or if they do know, it's because they've heard other people talk about it from Twitter. I don't want to know who my villain is because of Twitter. I know who my villain is because they go, this is the villain. This is what you should care about the villain.
I am hoping, right, the reason the Rani's reveal was a little bit underwhelming is because that's the big mystery. We all know. Next week, they're going to do a big reveal for Omega.
That's what I was saying.
That's not what I was saying. Next week, they're going to be like, look, you thought that was your reveal. Actually, the best character ever is here. And he's going to be like...
Just huffing on that copium, isn't he?
It's going to happen, I promise.
No, but the thing is, if they introduce Omega as well, then they'll have to have an iPad to tell everyone who the Rani is, and then an iPad to tell everyone.
You know what? I don't mind. I'll happily watch the Three Doctors on an iPad instead of the actual episode.
I think to keep everyone on board, you put Subway Surfers in the corner.
Where is my Tales of the TARDIS from Mark of the Rani?
I've got some bad news, lads. I had a look into this. I don't think they're doing any more. We're not going to get a Tales of the TARDIS this year. There's nothing in the schedule. It's a shame.
What a shame.
Rip to Tales of the TARDIS.
Not marvellous.
Joe, rather than Joe, your celebration of the 30k video was really, really lovely, but I would have rather have seen a compilation of every single time you've mentioned Omega on this channel instead. I'd like to see them all clipped together.
It reminded me earlier when Artie was talking about the Vault in Series 10. That's the first time on this YouTube channel I theorised that Omega was going to be in the show. I was like, Series 10, in the Vault, it's Omega. And since that day, every series I've been going, he's coming back, he's coming back, he's coming back. Series 13, the Flux, that was antimatter, right? That was Omega. He was just off screen. Series 12, he was in Series 12 actually.
Was he?
He actually was. He actually was.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed now.
He was. I'm right. And the guy, just quick anecdote. The guy who played the dad in the sitcom thing that I directed at uni, because he's a supporting artist, as his normal job, I think. He is friends with the guy who actually played Omega as a silhouette in The Timeless Children. And they were said on set, that's Russell on Omega and someone else, I think. That's what he said. It could have been a lie, but I believe him. I want to believe. He's coming back, I promise.
Are you okay, Joe? Do you need a moment?
Not okay. He's done his waiting. He's the one who waits.
My question is though, he got so.
See, I told you. He can sense it.
He got too emotional. My thing is, would you even want Omega back after Sutek last year? Because look, I went through these stages of grief. Sutek was my guy. He was my goat. There he is. I love him. I love him to death. I make out with him on the regular. That's not true. Cut that out.
Jeez, the things hotties do when they're not recording podcasts.
Yeah. Point being.
That's what I use David for.
Point being. Point being, I waited for years for Sutek to come back, and I was burned. Do you really want that?
I trust Russell. Sutek's Omega's will him into a good story. Now, let's move on to the next comment. We'll do three more comments.
Alrighty, we got
All right. Well, that's all right then.
Timothy Radmore says, Captain Poppy seems similar to the woman in The End of Time. The Doctor doesn't see her. I don't know whether that's direct.
I love that. Captain Poppy's the woman from The End of Time. Canon. Yep, sold.
I do wonder how Poppy's going to fit, because also, maybe this is just me being ultimately Doctor Who fan-brained, but the fact that it was poppy seeds that made the honey, was that a coincidence?
I think I have some birds outside in the room.
Because people pointed out as well that, like, honey, it says honey, poppy honey, as in, like, so that's something the 50th Doctor would say to Poppy. Like,
you know what? A cat keeps on coming into my building. I think that's Nelvis Hain.
I'll tell you what, if the Poppy brand ties in, you're all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing.
I'll owe you a tenner if it does.
You all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing.
We're making monetary bets on Doctor Who. Yes. What has the world come to?
Joe, are you alive? Or?
I'm still here. I'm just trying to figure out how to mute a Snapchat group chat because nobody can shut up. It's just going bzz, 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 bzz. I'm going to call you all out. It's Osh, it's Connell, all of you. You're evil.
Why don't you just put Do Not Disturb on your phone?
Right, you go.
Absolutely.
You go to settings and then.
No, I've done it, Elise. Elise, you're too late. Your moment's passed. Now my entire setup's crashing before my eyes. There we go. She's back. Let me add this to the list of notes to cut.
No, keep this in.
I could keep this in. Your live chat, did we keep it in? Let me know in the live chat.
Nah, this is Patreon viewers now.
Oh, yeah, of course. This is what you guys pay for.
You should release the unedited version.
What, the unedited version of each podcast where Artie could get us cancelled? Yeah, that would be great.
Some people will pay bottom dollar for that.
That's true, actually. Twitter would love it. You can cancel Tharies for only $5.99 on the Confused Adipose page.
Oh, they try it for free.
They do it for free, yeah.
And they don't succeed.
It's 10 o'clock, so because of this, the landlord has demanded my silence.
Mrs. Flood, she's told him to be quiet.
Your theories as to who the landlord is. Who's the
landlord?
It's Omega.
It's Craig Owens, isn't it?
We've got a comment here from the Lush Box. As a Welshman, I love the use of the word lush. That definite article line definitely seems to confirm the whole Beep the Meep boss theory. Do you think? Because I took it more as just a reference to the definite article, you might say.
But it's definitely, she's the Meeps boss.
Do you think she's the boss?
I really, really, really want them to canonise that her big white fur coat was her killing and skinning the Meep after it betrayed her. That would be so good. That would be so good.
Cruella de Vil style.
Exactly. Right, we'll go. This is the final comment now. Final comment.
I better make it a good one. I'll be scrolling for a while.
Anytime today, it'll be lovely.
Yes. Okay, I got Ben Saunders 56. I think the Rani knows about the gods and is trying to harness their power, learn about them, and that's what the Rani unknowingly invented by generation. Oh.
Yeah, I can see it. It'd be cool.
If they make it that the Rani invented by generation, that would kind of work.
I'm so on board with that.
She is kind of sciencey, and it's kind of like, because it is sort of like, is it like mitosis? What's it called when like?
Yeah, mitosis.
Yeah, which is a
bit
the
cell split.
Yeah, which is a bit science. Science. I'm a great.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
But yeah, no, I mean the idea of her studying the god stuff, trying to understand it because she's like, this can't be real. There has to be a logic to it. I quite like as a motivation.
That would make sense as well as if she'd planned to do this as well, and that the Mrs. Flood kind of caricature had been sort of planned to come prior to her to set up her place for her arrival. That would make sense as why Mrs. Flood immediately steps back into that role as well, rather than I don't know if it's like, yeah, this is always the plan. It was going to happen at some point, but we've prepared for it now. I can have many more Ranis to serve my Rani empire or something.
In retrospect,
those lines.
It is quite smart to have the Rani as like the big bad of these last couple of seasons, because it's been leaning more into fantasy rather than science, and she's like the science. I think there was a theory earlier on the stream, right, where someone was talking about how she might be trying to bring back science.
Yeah. I mentioned that in this podcast as well. It ties in thematically perfectly. But yeah, no, I 100% see it. Like, her whole thing is science. And Russell wrote the character very faithfully in that post-credit scene, to be fair. Yes. Although it's a bit weird. He knows how to write the Rani. So I trust it'll work. I hope, please. And yeah, I can't wait for Omega to show up. But should we do one more comment? Yeah, let's go. All right. One more. Make it a good one.
Bitmoji just keeps jump scaring me. I'm really sorry. She keeps appearing.
Are there any people we know? Are there any regular names?
Really? Are you slacking, guys? Oh, there is actually someone in here, speaking of regular names, an absolute legend, Elise.sa in the comments said...
Did I put something in the comments?
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
I was going to, and then I thought I didn't.
The fiddlesticks is Conrad doing a part of the Unholy Trinity.
I did say that.
You're not happy about Conrad being a Unholy Trinity man?
No, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I thought about doing that. I didn't realise I'd actually done it. Sorry, guys. I'm having a mental breakdown.
We've had this discussion earlier in the podcast. This is the problem. Everyone's bi-generating in and out. Like, Tharies wasn't here to start with. Rosanna was here. Rosanna's gone. Rory's here. Tharies is back. Give us one final proper comment. Come on. Juicy.
Oh, wow. At least that wasn't the proper comment.
Yeah, at least that wasn't good enough. I'm sorry. Disgraceful. It is. We need it. We can't give an underwhelming finale.
This is interesting. Josh Rook. I don't know whether
Russell can.
Josh Rook 2023. Do you believe Doctor Who needs a break for a few years and then start again refreshed? It's a bit of drama.
It won't change anything. They might as well just carry on and hope that it gets better at some point.
If they want to take a break and allow us to take over as showrunners, sure. But if not, then keep going.
Yeah, we're not all like 50 plus, so it won't happen.
This is the writer's room right here.
Yeah,
We don't go
really
to the
nice
same
and
pub.
diverse.
We don't go to the same pub. We go to the same Zoom call.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is the modern equivalent. Yeah. No.
We need to take it to the BBC. We need to just storm and be like, "Hey, here's a 5-series plan. We've got everything in serious detail. Here's the full budget list."
I think last year I may have agreed with this more. But because I had such a fun vibe this year, I'm like, no, it's fine. Keep it going.
I was starting to think maybe Doctor Who needs a nap. Like, let it have a little nap. But no, it's been great. These past few weeks, it's been popping off. Doctor Who, don't go anywhere. And just like you viewers, although the podcast is ending, there's far more videos to check out on the channel. But before we go...
And on other channels that are available.
Tharies doesn't have a channel. Rory's got a channel. Elise's got a channel. Artie's got a channel. Tharies, you should think about starting one. I think, your talents are wasted. But ratings out of 10. We'll start with Rory, because Rory, give us a little overview of the episode, for you, and then your rating out of 10.
Here's the thing, a lot of it has been spoiled by the political aspect, which it sounds like you've already covered. So thankfully, don't have to go too deep into that. But the vibes were there with the episode. It looks gorgeous. There are some shots that are like, wow. And then after everyone gets sucked into space and the Doctor comes back into the station, budget goes for a bit and then it comes back near the end. But it looks great. It was entertaining, and I don't know. I think I might have to go with maybe a 5 or a...
Fair.
Yeah, 5 I'm going to go with.
Ooh.
Fair. I mean, I'll spoil mine right away. Mine's not much higher. I think I'm going to go with about 6, maybe 7. No, it's 7. After I rewatched it, I did enjoy it more, but there are problems. And the Rani reveal, if we just forget some of that, then it's better. I'm going to go with a 7. 7 out of 10. Right, Elise, what are we thinking?
I'm similar to Rory, I think. The political aspect really spoiled a lot of it for me. Not just because of how indelicately it dealt with it, but because I think that the character decisions made from that. Like the whole, I understand we want to see a darker side of the Doctor. I think that was so wrongfully implemented in this episode. I don't feel in good conscience I can give it any higher than a 5.5, which is such a shame because I think it could have been so much higher if they had dealt with that in a correct way.
Saris, you're up. Give us your 10 out of 10 and get cancelled on Twitter.
No. For me, I don't think it was handled quite as badly as some do. I agree there's a lot of clunkiness in there for sure. And I agree that with what Joe was saying about the Rani reveal being a bit tacked on and a bit weird. However, I do think there were some really good moments in this. I think, Gat was giving a very good performance. I think there's a lot of nice little character lines that I really liked. The gay couple shout out. Don't know whether you mentioned them. I thought they were really good fun.
They were.
That is the thing. It is, some of it is written really nicely.
I did have a really good time watching it. I agree that there is definitely some moments that are not too short, especially on rewatch, because I only watched it the first time
before you got cancelled, and then having told that you were, a massive racist, you just wanted to rewatch it.
No, I'm not even a racist. I love genocide. That's what it was. I love genocide, apparently. Anyway,
that's going to get clipped now. Just that phrase.
Anyway, I think
we don't associate. I've never met Faris. None of us have actually. We don't know who this man is.
Who's Faris?
What's the Faris?
I am in agreement with Joe because while there were some things that I didn't like about it, I still had a good time. And at this point, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for a good time. I think it's on a similar level for Story in the Engine for me, although I think this is slightly worse. I think Story in the Engine is I dislike it for very different. Well, not dislike it, but the issues it has are very different to the issues this one has. But they end up kind of equaling out. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think it's worth saying as well that it's only. I think if this episode came in another season, it would probably go higher up. I think it's because compared to the season we've had, there hasn't been a bad episode. I think they've all been really good. This one is maybe.
Revolution.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Revolution's good.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you, Rory. I think, we're probably being slightly harsher on the episode because this season's been really, really good. It's not a bad episode at all.
Yeah, I agree with what one of the commenters was saying, where it was their second, their least favorite or second least favorite, but still pretty good. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's there were some issues with it. It's still on the lower end of this series, but I can't say that I didn't have a good time watching it, because I did.
Yeah. Artie, Mimus. Oh, sorry, go on, Rory.
So I was just going to say, I put it sort of on the same level as Kablam, where it's technically good and I enjoy it, but it's problematic and I don't like that.
I can appreciate that.
Fair.
Arthur.
No, sorry, you've had your moment. Artie, Mimers, your thoughts on the episode?
I don't think I can mime because the politics has come up again, so I'm just going to get noise complaints. But I think that the political messaging.
From a mime?
What?
No, he's saying he's going to have to.
I'm going to have to speak because the politics came up. But I think that politically, if it was intentional, then it was immature, and if it was unintentional, then it was misguided. So I'm going to separate the politics, and I'm going to separate the end credits scene. But as an episode of television, I really enjoyed it. So for me, it's between a 7 and an 8 out of 10.
That was the most coherent thing you've ever said. Congratulations.
That's what happens when I shut up for a bit.
You should do it more often.
Keep me on. You've got to keep me on. I haven't heard him stammer since being here.
Artie.
Rory.
There we go.
Rory's the cure.
That's crazy. Oh my God. To be fair, he's been fairly good today. I think I've heard 2 stammers.
I was saying earlier, I love that in my live chat, every time I stumble over my words now, it is just full of people going, oh, he's doing an Artie, he's doing an Artie.
See, I have beef with the comments, but I've got to be quiet now, so I will shout at you next week.
Shout at you next week, so you've got to tune back in. Please come back. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, as I say, you can go and check out everybody's channels. Sadly, Tharis doesn't have one to check out. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you all for being here. And goodbye. That's
what I call a giggle.
That's what I call a giggle.
Yeah.
Not happening. Never.
don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you! She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.